Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind and forward-moving spouse with a bomb drop of September 11th, 2023, a date of marriage of 2011. She has a boomerang and she's not familiar with energy level types. She says, 3 years ago, I accused my husband of having an affair with a coworker. I then made snarky comments about her on and off for 2 years. Around that same time, friends felt he was getting too close, and I'm assuming to the coworker, and had no boundaries with her, and they had multiple talks with him. This was unknown to me. January of 2023, he said he can't do this, and he left. So it says bomb drop was September of 2023. So I'm not sure where we have January of 2023. So it sounds like bomb drop was really January of 2023 instead of September. So we've got a little bit of confusion there. He came back after 2 weeks. February of 2023, he left again. Came back, and I found a message between he and the coworker, him telling her that she makes him happy. Then there was an online affair with an old school friend in July of 2023. Messages to BDSM woman on TikTok also. I don't know what BDSM is. I'm a little afraid with the S&M thing there. It was at Bomb Drop SM, but okay. September 2023, he left. So your bomb drop is January of 2023. Given this, I'm thinking that you were looking at it because he left, it sounds like for the last time, it hasn't returned, of September. No, your bomb drop was when the first time that happened was. Okay. Then it says he has childhood trauma from his dad. Left 3 years and came back. So I'm assuming dad left 3 years and then returned. Does this sound like a midlife crisis? I feel like this is all my fault. So I can't tell you midlife crisis or not. There's pieces of it. Yeah, sure. What I'm going to look at is, first thing, 3 years ago, you accused him of having an affair with a coworker. And it sounds like it wasn't that 3 years ago you accused him and then that ended. 3 years ago, you started accusing him of having an affair with a coworker because you made snarky comments about it off and on for 2 years. In other words, until bomb drop, because bomb drop was a year ago. But at the same time, unbeknownst to you, others noticed the same thing because they said they noticed that he was getting too close. Now, did those other friends of yours also hear the snarky comments from you? So you didn't know they were saying, hey, dude, you're getting too close to her. There's a problem here. But did you talk to them? Did they know you had suspicions? Did they know you were having a problem with it? Or did you, as completely separate entities, unbeknownst to them, you had a problem, unbeknownst to you, they had a problem? So, or were they saying, hey, she's got a problem with this. She's noticing. Let's step in. But either way, are you being over paranoid? I want to say no, because the friends noticed. So I want to validate your concerns and that you were doing something, that you noticed something, and that you had these suspicions, because you have these friends also saying they did something about it. They noticed something. And then you move forward and you caught him having messages with that same person that she makes him happy. That constitutes at least a level of emotional affair if it had not crossed a line to physical. At the same time, you're making snarky comments instead of doing something more. You're showing fear, you're showing paranoia rather than doing something more about it. When you have a spouse, now what that means is you're afraid. No, who's not going to be afraid? Who out of us is not going to take the route that you did? Many of us are going to do that route. We find out, and when they dismiss us, they minimize our fears. A lot of us, maybe more than 50%, maybe even more than 75%, are going to take the snarky comment route or the shut up route and stifle it and pretend route. Instead of confront route, you're going to counseling with me, or I'm going to counseling, or kick you out route, or you're doing something route. The confrontational route of, I don't believe you. You face the music. You're doing something wrong. And you're doing a little bit of that by making snarky comments like, hey, I know what you're doing. You and your girlfriend. So, but when it comes to this, here's the problem with, say, marriage counseling. Marriage counselors, those who really know their stuff, they know that couples come to them 3 years too late. You made snarky comments about her for 2 years. You noticed this for 2 years. And then bomb drop. Marriage counselors know that couples come to it. So you went 2 years not doing marriage counselors, but just poking. He's the one doing the wrong stuff. But are you adding to the toxicity, or are you helping deflect and make the toxicity go away? So that's what it is. It's not all your fault, because were you the one that was having the emotional affair or the inappropriate relationship? Because that part wasn't your fault, was it? And are you in control of pushing somebody else into somebody else's arms? Not at all. You noticed an inappropriate relationship between two people. And don't let him tell you, oh, well, it wasn't, and you pushed us together. Wouldn't that be an amazing coincidence that you pushed the two people that you noticed that you thought were being inappropriate, and it happened to be those two people that ended up being inappropriate later? Amazing. Wow. What a coincidence that would be. It isn't really a big coincidence that somebody whose spouse has extreme paranoia, it happens, and is always afraid they're having an affair, and that spouse ends up having an affair later. That isn't a huge coincidence. If there is a real toxicity and a real pathology on the part of a paranoid spouse, there can be a level of pathology with somebody who is so afraid, and the spouse is in a toxic relationship, and eventually they just want to get out. They want to get out, and they see no hope, and they may fall into an affair, but it isn't with the person that they're if there's someone they're suspected with, it might not be with that person. But in your case, no. You thought he was having an inappropriate relationship with a certain person. Other people thought that he was having a relationship with that certain person. You later saw messages with that person, so you confirmed inappropriate relationship with that person. You're not the paranoid person. The part that you're accountable for is how you handled it. Okay? He is accountable for his behavior. He started it. In other words, he threw the first punch. Okay? And so he does bear the brunt of the responsibility. I'm not going to go 90-10 or any things like that. I mean, but it's his. He's the accountable person. And you just need to be accountable for how you handle things. We all have to be accountable for our healing, how we handle things, how we refuse to heal, how we minimize our own pain, how we don't go to counseling. You can't force him to counseling. But when it comes to it, and you can say, you know what, we need therapy. I'm going without you, dude. And talk to the therapist and say, what do I need to do? He's refusing to come. But I still want to fit. I still want to stay in my marriage. And I don't know what to do when this is happening. I don't know what type of boundaries I need to set. And maybe some of the boundaries to set when this is happening is separation. Maybe it's not. I'm not saying that. And I'm talking 3 years ago when this started. You needed some guidance then. Now things have changed. Now it may be into an MLC. Once bomb drop happens, it tips it. It could tip it into an MLC. So to find out if it's MLC, you've got the childhood trauma. You have the affair. I want to see what are the other symptoms going on. Tell me about the other things, or tell you about it. Does he fit all of the other pieces? Okay. He's come back a few times. Well, yeah, that's clinging boomerang or boomerang, probably clinging even. Okay. So your job, though, in this, first thing, stop blaming yourself, because you are not at fault for the choices he has made. You're accountable for your choices. And that is how you've handled it. And we've all handled it in a sucky way for most of the beginning pieces. It is a rare person who handles it well at the beginning. And even when we handle it well. Those who handle it well doesn't mean it turns the other person. Doesn't mean their spouse then responds in the way. We could still end up in a situation we don't want to. It just means that I can handle it with the right responses and grace. Doesn't mean my spouse doesn't leave, isn't monster, doesn't do all these horrible things. It just means I set the boundaries and I heal. And I protect my children. And they may still go scorched on me, do all these horrible things. But it means I take back my power. It means I do what I need to protect my children. It doesn't mean they don't try to get a shark of a lawyer and destroy me, depending on the type of person they are. And depending on the type of person they are and the clinging boomerang they are, it also doesn't mean that it sets me up well for a reconciliation. Okay? The grace I show. The grace I show, the level of healing that I do if I am a whole and emotionally regulated person, I am also set up well for somebody who is able to reconcile and be a calm force, a calming, a stable force for reconciliation. So your job is to heal. Understand what midlife crisis is, understand what affairs are, but you have a lot of fear. So learning how to handle those fears so that instead of going at it with the snarky comments, because you're attacking from your fear base, snarky comments, we get it. We all like to make them. Okay. But the snarky comments don't solve the problems. They are a deflection and a defense mechanism. And what do? Some defense mechanisms don't really help us heal. They put scabs up, but they are scabs of such thick armor that we can't cut through them later. And you don't want that, okay? So I want you to work on softening your scabs, okay? So get the therapy that you need so that you can work on healing you and becoming grace. And then you will be softened toward him in whatever future that means as you have communication with him. Okay? I hope this helps. And I will see everybody in the next question.